Taylor Swift fan or not, you likely heard this story from the weekend.
Over the weekend, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce appearing to make their romance official with a very public kiss. The sweet moment quickly going viral and throwing the internet into a frenzy. It happened after her show on Saturday, the pop superstar running off the stage and into Kelce's arms, planting a kiss on his lips in full view of her fans. Swifties screaming their approval on social media.
A kiss that quickly went viral. Karma is the guy on the Chiefs coming straight home to me. Oh, Travis Kelce was on a bye week, so he was in Argentina. The end of the concert in Buenos Aires. Taylor runs into his arms, plants a cheek. She changed the lyrics, you see. We saw Travis standing there next to her father. Her father. Oh, and by the way, Taylor Swift just earned 6 nominations for her 2022 album, Midnights. You can't buy that kind of PR. Welcome to the Indestructible PR Podcast. I'm Molly McPherson, your crisis communication strategist and your guide through the world of breaking news and pop culture. Join me as we analyze the juiciest moments and extract valuable PR lessons. Let's go behind the headlines. This week, the intersection of popular culture, blind gossip, also known as blind items, and PR. Is it a machine or is it real? If you want more, I'll give you more. Technically, Marisa Roth will give you more. She's my special guest this episode. She is the widely popular TikTok blind queen, known for the "You Want More, I'll Give You More" opening. We are tackling a topic that's as intriguing as it is controversial, at least on TikTok. We're going to talk about blind gossip and the new PR playbook. This week on the episode, I have to tell you right off the bat, you may listen to this and find yourself ping-ponging all over the place, because if you spend even 2 minutes watching one Marisa Roth TikTok, you can imagine what it's like talking for over 2 hours. We did not stop talking. I cannot tell you how much work I had to do today, and I'd slotted 40 minutes for Kyle. I don't know what I was thinking. That I would think that we would actually be in and out in 40 minutes. We didn't even have the recording set up in 40 minutes. We were talking so much about so many different things. Oh my goodness. Now, if you don't know Marisa Roth, she is one of, many blind gossip, blind item creators. They originate on TikTok and then, share their content, across social media, but TikTok is her home. That is certainly where I found her. And I have to say, we didn't talk about this, surprising. I don't know how we first came in contact with each other. I don't even think we found each other. I am almost certain in the Venn diagram of public relations and blind gossip that we had a crossover, that her followers follow me and vice versa. And then we started taking each other. I follow a lot of blind gossip creators, and I like many of them, and some we've had on this podcast as well. But Kyle, she is a different character. But one of the reasons why I really, really like her is that she just doesn't care, right? She just puts it all out there. She has wit. She's funny. She admits she has ADHD. She does bounce around a lot, but she's brilliant. She is very, very smart. She has a very deep background, highly educated. She went to Lehigh. Oh my gosh, she worked in finance. I mean, I think she said she was an English degree as well. That was in the preamble. This was before we even started recording. I just find her to be fascinating. But one of the places where we really, really connected, now we have been following each other for a while, but it was one story that wove us together, and we did not realize it at the time. Our followers realized it. Kyle and I were following the same story, and it ended up being one of the biggest stories for both of our careers so far, and it both happened this year. And what we realized is when following this story, we were creating a playbook, a public relations playbook for how to use social media for public relations, but far more important, how not to use it. She and I both broke it down from different sides of the celebrity breakdown. I have to admit, in this episode, I cut a lot of the content because honestly, we spoke for over 2 hours. I could not have a podcast going for 2 hours. If you want the entire piece of content, and I think I'm going to do it uncut, I think if you can ride along with us, you'll be a part of our conversation. I am loading it to my Patreon. So you'll find it there now and you can watch the entire insane video that absolutely, this is the equivalent. This is the image. Think about TV shows like Criminal Minds, anything where there's like a serial killer and then they have a shot, like an exterior shot from the police department. And then they go in to the detective's wall and they have all these photos. It's like a murder wall and there's yarn everywhere. So whether it's in the police department or the murder itself, they just put everything on the wall and it just goes everywhere. That's what this conversation was. Oh my God. And I know some people from our comments, because Kyle and I both posted about it. Some said, I really don't follow PR, or I really don't follow blind gossip. Oh. By the end of this episode, I'm going to tell you that the two intersect, so much so that I am writing a book. And can I tell you, a big chunk of that book is going to go to this new playbook that Kyle and I are talking about in this episode. So we're going to tackle, if you pay attention, we're going to talk about a lot of different celebrities in here, but we're going to focus on two biggies. Take a listen. Kyle, Marisa Roth, who I call KMR. I am so excited to speak with you on this podcast.
I think
Welcome.
I'm excited too. Yes.
Okay. Full disclosure though, you and I have been talking for about, 90 minutes now. We've already done the podcast.
Yes. Hi, Molly. We literally just gave each other deep dives on each other's love lives. So
I know. We know everything about each other now.
I know Molly's shoes.
Oh my gosh.
Now.
Yes. Yeah. What we've established is Molly likes men.
Yeah,
Right?
Molly
Yes.
likes men. Kyle usually does not. Sometimes she does. Molly didn't know that I was queer, which is just.
I didn't. That's a revelation.
That is a revelation, but that, I respect that about you, that you were just so focused on what was coming out of my mouth that you didn't even think about whether or not I liked girls.
I know I didn't. I am just so fascinated by your work. And I even appreciate that you, one, are even on here, of course, but also that you even give me a second of your time, someone as an older Gen Xer, and you are this young, hip, crazy fun, blind gossip, amazing creator. And the fact that you even give me any of your airspace just makes me happy. Yeah. Okay. Well, I love that we are so merged like this. We're so similar in that our people do want us to come together. However, full transparency, as I was letting you know, that whole Roman Empire thing as it went off, I was one of those people, sadly, Googling, what the hell does Roman Empire mean? And I still am not clear what it means. What does it mean?
It's white boys obsessed with concrete.
Yes. Okay. That's what I thought it was. And that's why I didn't get it. I still didn't get it. Everybody loves to say the collab, like best TT duet team. Oh my God. I love both of you.
Yeah.
The collab I've been dying for. So this is the Roman Empire. I get it now.
Talk the shit and you clean up the shit. You know what I mean? Like we kind of have.
You just wrote the slogan for this episode. Thank you. That should be the title. Can I put shit in the title?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just do a little asterisk. Yeah. But that's what, that's essentially like what happens is blind items and PR kind of are fascinating because blind items are the precursor for necessary PR. You know what I mean? I mean, not all of the time, but blind items are typically events or like situations or facts about celebrities that aren't publicly known yet,
yes,
but could potentially be made public, or some aspect or some byproduct of whatever the thing is in the blind items could be made public. So it's like publicists and PR people love blind items because it's like, what do we need to know about before we need to know about it kind of thing.
Oh, I love how you said that. And also my fascination, well, one, I've been following blind gossip, blind items for my whole life. Okay, I've been obsessed with that.
I just remember being in like middle school and reading his shit and being like, who the fuck is Toothy Tile? Jake Gyllenhaal.
Was Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
He was?
Yeah.
Okay. I think maybe I did know that, but
Literally.
Wait, you said allegedly. Allegedly. Yes.
It's all alleged.
Tile.
It's all alleged.
God, you just tapped a part of my brain I have not thought about in years, Toothy Tile.
There's
oh my gosh.
A whole generation of Gen Xers that like follow me that I love, that we just always relish in the Ted Casablanca blind items.
Yes.
Like, it was a moment. Yeah.
It was a moment. It was Ted, and then also Page Six was big.
And Blind Gossip, and like
and Blind Gossip, all of it.
And there's a lot of British pop blogs that I will pull stuff from. Like, I love the British blogs.
Oh, we have so much to talk about that we have to just stuff in here. Yeah. So just to touch on what you were saying, since I work in as a seasoned public relations professional who specializes in crisis communication, I look to blind items and blind gossip as a strategic tool used by publicists. I look at it as a PR tool. And so I know people like to poo-poo it, dismiss it, but when I see blind gossip, to me, that's an unofficial official source. Right?
My followers, oftentimes with blind items, there will be a one-off blind item. How realistic or how likely or how truthful do you think this is? You know what I mean? When it comes to blind items. And so I've turned my focus a lot on the pattern of behaviors in blind items. So I'm always like 1 or 2 blind items. But if you see 3 to 6 blind items with the same type of behavior over a period of months, you can pretty much guarantee that there's some legitimacy to that, for example.
Yes. Oh, exactly. Okay. So before we dive on that would have been a great launching point, but we have to give people context about you first. I think that's really important. See, I connect with you on such a level because one, I love you. You're crazy. I love you, but you are wicked smart. You are smart. People kind of poo-poo what I do, but you can distill blind gossip, content creators, the whole language of social media. If you get people who understand it, it takes a smart person to understand that. You're amazing. Okay. So you live though. And one of the things I love about you is that you were a D1 lacrosse player.
Yes, I was.
I just love that. Yes.
Player. Yes.
I know. See, and prep school mom here, I'm just drawn to people like you.
I think that's why people think people are always like, you're so intense. And it's like, yes. Because I was like born intense. Yeah. Like,
yeah. You know
athletes,
you gotta be.
And also like being a female athlete, the closest thing a lot of us get to professional sports is playing Division I lacrosse Division I. I mean, I played, but like, and then I played a bit after college and I used to coach and stuff like that because I really just I just had the shittiest coaches growing up, shittiest teachers. And I just feel like there's probably a lot of Kyles out there that feel like I did when I was little. So I'd like to get back to that at some point again. Like it's definitely a 180 from what I'm doing now, but I have some of the kids that I used to coach that follow me, like they're adults now and it's just like cool.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Oh, they probably absolutely love that. Okay. So now the only thing I'm going to ask you about the job is, so just tell me quickly, how did you get into tell me first TikTok. When did you join TikTok? When did you decide what your brand was going to be? Because everybody starts and they kind of just move around and they land somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have been coming to me, like trying to establish a TikTok. It was like, I'm not a content advisor. You know, like there's people that sell that services. But it was just, so I just liked TikTok because I felt like, well, you know what always makes me want to do something? When people in power tell you not to do it.
Okay. All right. Yes.
It started like a few years ago. I remember there was just a headline, right? It was Donald Trump set to ban TikTok when he was president. And I was like, okay, wait, Donald Trump wants to make something illegal? Whatever that something is, it's probably either going to college, using accurate interest rates on your appraisals for insurance, and TikTok. So that was honestly like, I just have an issue with authority. And that was it. Like that was the best ad for TikTok I've ever seen. I was like, Donald Trump wants to ban it. That means that there's probably knowledge and information being shared on there. So I immediately sure, yeah.
Trump wants to ban it. I'm on it.
Again,
let's go.
The enemy is my friend is like my favorite quote when it comes to anything. Like I don't have any friends. I just have enemies of my enemy.
Oh my God. I think that quote was actually in my first book. That is so funny. We are so similar. Okay. So now then just tell me this. I'm curious. Yeah. You are the one. And even if people are listening right now and they don't see you on the screen, you are the woman. You're so identifiable on TikTok.
Well, they apparently used my likeness for Ivanka's Trump court image yesterday. Everyone's like, they're using your face.
I saw that. That was very funny. That was very, very funny. But you are, not only do you have, you have this beautiful face and you have this, the striking blonde hair, but of two things. So one, you're okay, can you say it for me? Your tagline?
You want more? I'll give you more.
Okay, where did that come from?
Honestly, Miss Britney Jean Spears. Okay, so give me more. So in it, she goes, "You want more? Well, I'll give you more."
Stop.
So I watched her VMAs performance after she was put in the conservatorship, and I just remember I'm not a fan of anyone except Britney Spears till the day I die.
Oh.
She's the reason I'm bisexual. I credit Britney Spears entirely with my bisexuality. I got her calendar in 2002, and it was just on my wall, and I was like, I think I like girls.
Oh, because you loved Britney.
Because I love Britney, and then it was like, okay. And I kept loving Britney, and then more people that looked like Britney like had boobies too, and I was like, I think boobies are my thing. It was after that, and I watched that performance, and I just wanted to like hug her. I might get emotional because I just saw the way that. Sorry, I don't know why I'm crying about Britney Spears.
Don't cry. Did you read her book? You obviously read her book.
I haven't read a book. No, I don't do
because you don't want to.
I don't want to because
okay.
I'll get mad because I know it's not. Yeah.
The whole Britney Spears thing. 2 weeks ago, I did a podcast on that where she's doing the long game. Justin Timberlake, who just leveraged and used her, and the press, everybody who treated her that way, it's awful.
Yeah, and then Janet Jackson too. That's the other thing is
yes, he did Janet Jackson.
That was when I watched live TV, and that's when like TiVo came out. I remember that Super Bowl was the first Super Bowl I'd ever seen on TiVo. My friend from high school, his parents were actually the ambassadors to Sweden. And they had like this huge house that the Clintons were over upstairs or something, allegedly. But we were watching, and I was like, was that a nipple? And they were like, yeah, wait, we can rewind it. I'm like, you can rewind it?
I know. I had TiVo too. Isn't that funny?
TiVo needs to send Janet Jackson like a gift. Thank you for your nipple, because that made TiVo what it is today.
I know, that made TiVo. Yeah. So you just encapsulated your entire being that you talked about Britney Spears, Janet Jackson, the nipple slip. And then you said, my friend, his son, he's the son of the ambassador to Sweden. I mean, that is so you. All right. So now that's where you got that. That's great. Now, when you went on TikTok, how did you decide? Okay. Because I know a lot of people, I've seen creators who want to be like blind gossip people. They'll just start reading it. And some people, okay, it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. But some people it takes off. Now, when did you decide to do blind gossip?
Well, okay. So do you remember the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial?
No, I have no recollection of it whatsoever.
I blacked out that entire.
Oh my God. If I ever bring up Johnny Depp or Amber Heard, I get assaulted by both sides. So yes, I have trauma from it.
I'm in the middle. I report it on every day. I'm like, I'm just living in that. The only person I will assault is Netflix for literally stealing all of my fellow content creators' content and not paying them, and then putting that in their documentary that they aired during the SAG strike, like little assholes.
Yeah,
Netflix.
I saw you talk about that. Yeah, I did.
I just have a big issue with people stealing my content and my friends' content and my fellow creators' content. I know someone is suing Netflix over that documentary now, though.
Oh, good.
For stealing it.
They absolutely should. Yeah, they absolutely should. But what is it? When did you segue into blind gossip?
So it was honestly, how much information is too information? Because I'm about to get very personal into some.
Well, it's not about too much information, about time, because we have so much we have to get to. Okay.
I just always had an interest in their relationship because Johnny Depp and Amber Heard allegedly did a lot of cocaine together. Johnny Depp was in blow. Amber Heard was the hottest girl I knew in Hollywood. So it was just like all of the things. And then their blind items are so fucking juicy. So I'm watching the trial and I'm like, oh, you guys, wait, I know what they're talking about with the ping pong balls and all this shit. And so after the trial, everyone wanted to talk about it still, right? And they're like, Kyle, wait, you mentioned this. And I'm like, well, there's actually a blind item that talks about this specific night. And they're like, so then I started organically bringing up Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. That's literally the first playlist on my account says Johnny Depp, Amber Heard.
Oh, and you're good at it because of your photographic mind and your memory, you could have instant recall on these stories.
I think that's a lot of it was that I was literally either streaming the thing or putting out things. And I was like, you guys, wait, actually, I know about this. And they would kind of reference stuff in court, but then have a sidebar. You know what I mean? Like they didn't want certain things.
Yeah.
And I was like, bring it up. And so that was so it kind of organically took off after that, right?
All right. Thank you. So now for everyone listening now you make sense.
I'm an info baby.
Kyle okay. Okay. So we had to get the background all the way because it's not as juicy, but I think it's important because the context of you fascinates me.
Yeah.
But also just blind gossip in general. Now tell me who you follow, like who are your favorite blind gossip creators? And actually, before you do that, define what blind gossip is. I get asked that question all the time.
A blind item. So that's the other thing is people are like, what percentage of your blind items are true? I'm like, the point is that I put a thing on the top and I write blind item underneath. So you guys know that a blind item is an unconfirmed piece of gossip. Okay, period. That's it.
Okay.
It's like literally, and it means that the subject that it's about has not said, yes, this is true. Yes, it's basically, you know what I mean? And then usually also the blind item is that it doesn't reveal the person, but I have been reading these for so long that duh. And then also,
some are so obvious.
And I also get them direct from sources and they'll say like, it's this person. It's like, no shit, it's this person. You know what I mean? To the person who doesn't see this shit 3,000 times a day, every day, they would have an idea, but they wouldn't know. But a blind item is just literally an unconfirmed piece of gossip. They've been around for probably
decades,
thousands of years.
I mean, well, in theory, yes, thousands of years. People think it's new, but it's been around for what my background on my Patreon, PR Confidential, is Confidential Magazine, and that had blind items.
Yeah, like literally, I pull up blind items from the 20s, from the 1920s, 1910s. And also like my favorite thing, I'm a history dork. Like I have a history minor among other things.
Of course you do. Why wouldn't you?
I'm obsessed with U.S. history specifically. My dog's name is Alexander Hamilton. Not after the musical, not after the fucking I hate musicals. But it was because the conspiring in the Revolutionary War, the United States, the 13 colonies, Maryland was one of those. We won the Revolutionary War because of France. But France needed to be convinced to join. And what did we get? We got gossip. Someone got literally a receipt from King George saying, sent it to the French king. That's where it was the conspiring just exchanged gossip. That's all it was. That's how we found out Benedict Arnold was a traitor. They said Benedict Arnold was a traitor, sent it off, and someone just happened to believe that. So that's where the thing is that gossip is so critical. And I feel like the reason why people like to just, because they think it's like a woman's thing, but it goes back to Neolithic times. We used gossip as a way to protect ourselves. We would be out collecting things all day, right, with other women, and we would share stories about who's dangerous, which areas are dangerous, which animals.
Yeah.
And we'd bring it back to the
So you're talking about the necessity
of gossip,
of blind items and blind gossip.
Yeah, blind gossip. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Now, what would you say when you read, and you're like me, we've been reading it forever. Yeah. What percentage would you give to the items that you read are true or partially true or intentionally placed?
Oh,
in other words, what's the truth factor percentage?
Those are very different things because
yes. Okay.
I've had very different experiences versus what I get submitted to me and then what I find online on like.
Let's start with online first. Like when you look at it, spitball.
Yeah. Like crazy days and nights. Okay. I'll use that. Because I would say 60% of my blind items are like crazy days and nights. I want to say
okay, and that's NT lawyers attached to crazy days and nights?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
And I'll like typically be like, okay, because I'll sometimes get a blind item and I'll say, this is what I have. And then I'll say, this is what Crazy Days and Nights has on the same subject. Because sometimes we'll get like corroborating blind items. Sometimes I'll get a blind item that's more information off of like what was already put on. You know what I mean? But I would say Crazy Days and Nights, like, I mean, the fact of the matter is a blind item is an unconfirmed piece of gossip. And there are dozens of blind items that are posted daily. For me to say, to give an estimate over time, the problem is that some of those things are very true, but there's only like one way to confirm whether or not it's true, like digging up a body or like getting you know what I mean? So it's like, so it's just some of those are just out of the realm of possibility, but I'd say 80% of them can be proven or disproven. And I'd say of those 80%, 65 to 70% end up proving true.
Yeah. So, I mean, because that is, you were saying, how do you know, right?
Yeah.
But we know sometimes because they're revealed.
Yeah.
And they also just reveal itself in time. Not that you would know this though, but you're not NT Lawyer, but I know that NT Lawyer, and I remember, I don't even know if he still does it, but I remember 15 years ago, 10 years ago, every New Year's, I think he would do all the big reveals.
Yeah.
Was that New Year's? Am I right?
He does that weekly now.
Yeah, I notice it. Now it's more frequent.
It's more frequent, yeah.
So how does a blind gossip creator, how can you do a reveal without worrying about getting sued? Do you know how that works? I guess if he were on here, we'd ask him, but.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, it's like alleged, but also putting blind item, it's like saying what it is. I'm not saying this is a fact, this is the truth, this is a blind item.
Oh, it's still considered blind item. But do you do reveals at all? You know how NT Lawyer, he would say there'd be the blind item that'd been there forever. And then underneath in italics would be the name.
I just
like
do
the reveal.
Well, I just do corrections. If I think I know the blind item and I share it and I say it's this person and then NT Lawyer reveals it and I'm wrong, then I'll do a correction. But I haven't really had to.
You haven't do that yet, right?
Well, no, I've had to issue a few corrections, probably like, I want to say over the last 18 months, maybe 5 total where I've guessed wrong first. Okay. But I make 10 to 20 TikToks a day. Like that's not bad.
You're so prolific. Oh my gosh.
That's the pattern recognition. You know what I mean? Like I've been reading these since 2007. So it's just like after that time, it's like, oh, but what I've noticed with myself is now that I'm doing them online all the time, it's like, I don't share blind item because it's like, duh, but I'm like, I stopped thinking like the average person, you know what I mean? Like someone will be like, Kyle, why didn't you talk about this? I'm like, because no, they're like, no, not everyone knows. And I'm like, oh, you know? And I've also replaced some people as TMZ. They're just done with fucking, and I use TMZ articles and pick apart their grammar, their content, and Page Six. So people get all that news from me. So I've had to like slow myself down and be like, I need to, I mean, that's where I was a writing major. So I've learned about context clues. And I was an auditor. Nothing teaches you about lining up the receipts and the proof and the evidence faster than getting your CPA.
Well, I'm thinking you should be an adjunct. There's a college course.
Oh my God, that's my dream is to be a college professor. Oh my God.
Oh, I was just speaking to my alma mater today because I had to take the semester off. Anyway, from teaching, but it's fun. I get so much. One of my favorite teaching moments, honestly, is I was in the class and we did we talk about everything and they know that I was on TikTok. And then one of my favorite Paige, who actually kind of reminds me of you, she looks like you. She said, well, Tom Brady and Giselle are getting divorced. I said, what now? Come on. I'm outside of Boston. I'm at college there. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, it's right here. It's right. I went, oh, so it's like students dropping, items on me. I love it. That's my kind of classroom. Let's talk about Tom Brady and Giselle.
Right? That's what I want to tell publicists. Oh my God, there's so many celebrities, publicists, and PR teams where I'm like, you guys should just hire me as a consultant because it is so easy just from like the end user side to be like, stop using this language. I'm a writer too. I want to scream every time.
Okay, give me an example. Give me an example that's something that drives you nuts.
They remain the best of friends. They're very much involved. The split remains amicable. No Hollywood split is ever amicable unless it's a beard contract, period.
You know what, Kyle? You and I could go into business together and do celebrity crisis PR. We would be a team.
Or just be like, hey, publicist, here's how to fix that mistake too. Because so many publicists are sleeping on their job.
So in one of my interviews, and someone just asked me about that, and I don't want to give too much because as I told you, this will be revealed soon in a book that you're going to be in, I just lost it. Oh, I think publicity. And for publicists now, the game's changed. They've used the same thing for decades.
And that's what social media has changed it. And that's where I feel like I was in auditing, for example, electronic banking systems, okay? And I can just see how it goes from the experts to out, the back end users to the front. So social media, publicists aren't the back end users. We are.
Yes.
Who are these writers at Page Six? Who are these writers at TMZ? Who are these publicists? Who are these?
Oh, you want to know the writing? Okay. Oh God, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah. But you and I didn't talk about this beforehand, but now I think we kind of have to. Yeah. You don't have to reveal all of it. But the writing bugaboo that I had with publicists was Joe Jonas's Ring camera. And on TMZ, when it said Joe saw / and or heard, nobody talks like that. Nobody says slash. I mean, it's awful. So
whole Joe Jonas, Sophie Turner thing. That's the one thing though where I was approached ahead of time before in July.
Okay, with Kyle, I think the reason why we are the Roman Empire of so many people is because you and I were both talking about the backside secret. You and I were both calling them out.
The Joe Jonas.
Yes, you and I were both using our spidey senses to boil it out. So you noticed it though because people were coming to you.
Well, first of all, this is where I rely on my photographic memory and my years of reading blind items. But I will say the one thing I'm a fan of besides Britney Spears is Game of Thrones, okay? I didn't watch TV until 2013. Literally didn't have a TV growing up, didn't own a TV in college. I don't have one again now. But I've watched Game of Thrones all seasons, back to front, at least probably 9 or 10 times in my adult life, which is so embarrassing to admit. That's how much free time that I don't spend with friends. I spend it watching Game of Thrones. But Sansa Stark is one of my favorite characters. But I also watched Sophie Turner grow up in front of me. That's the thing is that,
yeah.
And I know Game of Thrones, there's just a lot of stuff about the set there, okay? There's so much. Mm-hmm. And so I just always had a soft spot because Sansa Stark's character arc is just incredible. My Queen of the North. But it was also, I watched her progression. I read her blind items from when she was 14 to when she's now 27. And she's also allegedly bisexual too. So there was just like a lot of things where.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is that in a blind? Oh,
Yeah, that's in a lot of blinds. And so, but that was the thing is I was like, oh my God, I love Sophie Turner. She's just so smart. She's so this, she's so that. But also like, and I'm also very into the cinematic aspects and the acting aspects of everything. I wanted to be an actress, but I have such bad stage fright. But so I just got really into also like her acting maturity too. Anyway, so obviously I was a fan of Sophie Turner. And I've also read all of her blind items. And I've listened to like Kelly and Troy on Beyond the Blinds, for example.
Yeah.
Two of my favorite blind item creators, okay? I've listened to them do Jonas Brothers blind items. I've read them, I've heard them. And
there's history there. There's history.
I think Shannon on Fluently Forward might have done a Game of Thrones podcast episode. So like I've heard, so it's like if there's anything I knew, it was because I never understood Joe Jonas. He's like my age and I just never got it. I never got the Jonas Brothers thing. Like maybe it's because I'm Jewish and purity rings just like aren't, you know what I mean?
Thing.
We believe in testing the car out before you buy it here.
So do Catholics, kind of, behind the scenes.
Yeah, as long as you don't tell anyone. And so it was just like, I'm like, what is she? She seems so cool and she's so tall. What is she doing with this guy? You know, I just never got it. I would read their blind items and it would always be like, oh, Joe uses Sophie to cruise for a third. Joe uses Sophie to pick up girls because no one wants to fuck the Jonas brother. Everyone wants to fuck the Queen of the North, to put it bluntly. But so.
Oh, wow.
So
wait, did you just drop something? There's blinds on Joe Jonas being bi?
No, on Sophie being bi, but cruising for thirds for a third woman.
Okay, now that trends.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so that's why I was so
gotcha.
into it as someone who loves women and cruising for, no, just kidding. But all of the blind items, and they were about that or they were about Joe cheating on Sophie. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Gotcha.
And they're about Sophie. Also, this is the thing. And again, I'm a very emotional person. I'm about to get my period literally anytime today or tomorrow. So I might start crying about this because this is the part that bothered me the most was Sophie has actually been very vocal about her postpartum struggle with depression and body image. I spoke to you. I lost a daughter 8 months pregnant. I struggled with postpartum depression. It made me suicidal for the first time. And I have struggled with that to this day. So when I read stories, especially when women and celebrities are like so upfront about it and are like, I'm struggling with this. I continue and I have struggled. But there was like blind items about him body shaming her when she didn't want to go to an event because she had literally just given birth 2 weeks before. She's like, and he got to the event. And he's like, I can't believe Sophie wouldn't come. Like all this stuff. So it was just like, whoa. Okay. And I also know just Joe Jonas from dating Taylor Swift, like he's my age, Yes. And I'm like, This guy, I've never heard a good thing about this guy, except when it comes to riding children's rides. The best thing about him is he's 5'6" and can get on the
on the Disney team. Hey, this is coming out of the blue now. I have to ask you this. So now that we're on the Jonas, I don't even know if we've lost our listeners yet, but I don't think we have because I think people's brains work like ours. Okay. Jonas Brothers, 10 years ago? 11, 15, I don't know.
Yeah.
When Kevin Jonas got married, the wife they're both in New Jersey. She's just a regular person.
I think they're high school sweethearts, something.
Yeah, okay.
Something like
that. The pregnancy. Do you remember the first one, how they said it was fake? And they were like, they did all there were articles out there, breaking down how she had a pillow in there.
Wait, really?
Am I telling you something you don't know?
To be honest, Molly, like when I say I am not a fan of the Jonas Brothers, like when I saw those purity rings,
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
Kind of guys I fucking bullied, okay? In high school, I got off to bullying those guys. I couldn't even entertain the existence of the Jonas Brothers without demeaning my ego, So I don't.
Okay, well, I don't know. Before algorithms were a thing, this is just a whole website stuff. For some reason, I just went into the deep hole of is Danielle Jonas's first baby real or not? I don't know. Maybe it's because I was having kids at the time. Okay.
I'm going to have to look up the Danielle Jonas pregnancy thing just because there's so much, pardon my French, bullshit. And I've learned this since the divorce. Allegedly, Denise Jonas, is just like the monster-in-law.
Like Mom Jonas.
Yeah, like the
Mama Jonas.
Like a momager from hell just to anyone else.
Oh.
So I know this, though, for example, if you want to talk about faked things. So I know that, remember how everyone was like, Joe and Sophie aren't getting divorced? Sophie was just at the concert, like so happy because so this is how it all lined up. I got contacted back in July that they're like heading for a split and he didn't file until September 5th, right?
Yes. Okay. So hold on. So now we're in July. Someone contacts you. Give us the context of who contacts you.
I can't give you any context about who it was, but it was someone on the inside and they said they knew me though. They were like,
They knew you. And this is inside Team Jonas.
I think it may have been someone from inside Team Jonas. I don't know for
We don't
sure.
know.
Yeah,
we don't know.
But
it seemed reliable to you.
Well, the information, that's the thing that was the red flag. So the first thing is that I've never been approached like this where they knew it. So you know how I just told you I'm a Game of Thrones fan, I've said it to my followers on lives before, and I've talked about it. I don't have a lot of TV shows that I watch, so the ones that I do watch, like House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. So people who followed me would know that's one of the qualities about me, and I've talked about that, but it was like this person started out with, listen, I know that you're biased. And you're biased for Sophie Turner because she is a bisexual woman and Game of Thrones is your favorite show. Excuse me? Ooh. What? Oh, right? It was that off the bat where it was like, wow, that is a lot of audacity. And that is not how you approach me. But that rubbed me the wrong way.
Bold.
Because it's also like, whether or not I like Game of Thrones has nothing to do with how I report blind items. I mean, it like might factor into the bit and the entertainment.
But they're letting you know perhaps how reliable they are and that they researched you.
And they were like, so I know it's going to take some convincing.
Okay.
When something is what it is, I don't have to be convinced by anyone. I will see it, and then eventually I'll say, uh-huh.
Well, here's the trick, Kyle. So this is the stuff that I dissect when I see this. So let's say their mindset, what they're doing is they're trying to bait you, right? They're saying, we've invested in you because we think you are reliable. We think that your fans follow you. We respect you. So they're trying to like shine you up.
Yeah, okay, because that's what...
To drop you.
So that's why it ended up working out in the inverse so aggressively.
But they didn't know you, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean is that they said all these things to me, but they didn't know that like the first thing is don't tell me what not to do because that is the only thing.
To it.
Yeah, like, hello, Donald Trump at TikTok, like literally tell me what I'm not allowed to do. It was like when I found out I couldn't drink, it was like, oh my God. And then as soon as I turned 21, I was like, this is not fun anymore. Like I'm over this, you know?
Yes. Okay, so they come to you. Now, did they give it to you?
I get so pissed off when people like make these tell me these blanketed assumptions about me to me. It's like,
yes,
bitch, keep that to yourself. Okay.
Okay. So that was her first mistake. Okay. Can you say where they tried to reach you? Was it in your DMs?
It was in my DMs. Yeah.
Okay. And TikTok.
And it was like the fact that they said I was biased towards Sophie Turner because I'm a Game of Thrones fan. And it's like, and that's not why, but like, okay, that means I'm a fan of Sansa Stark, but that has nothing to do with the actual, anyway, so it was, and that I would take some convincing. And then they started out and that they didn't know to like what degree I had no respect for Joe Jonas. That's the thing is I wasn't the biggest, I was a big Sophie Turner fan, but I wasn't a stan. I didn't check on her daily. Yeah. And what they did was convert me. They radicalized me, Molly. I became like a Sophie Turner terrorist. I pledged my loyalty to House Sansa Stark, and I said, I'm going to die for the Queen of the North. But it really, like, I felt like I got weaponized like a Game of Thrones character. You know what I mean? I was like Tyrion Lannister, or Tywin Lannister, that's it. Or Cersei. Cersei's more accurate. But anyway, so they started going off, though, telling me all of these stories about how there's going to be criminal allegations and criminal charges probably being brought against Sophie Turner in all of these different European countries, like Romania, Bulgaria. I'm like, for what? And they're like, for sexually assaulting underage escorts. And I was like, wait, Sophie Turner, who's been a mom, okay, for like the last 4 or 5 years, right? Like I knew she had a wild teenagerhood and early 20s, but she's been a mom. And there's been a pandemic. She's going to be criminally charged in Bulgaria and Romania for sexual...
Yeah, we're going to go to the most obscure, like, might as well say, like, Transylvania. Like, where you can't prove anything.
One of my best friends went on a hooker tour in all of Europe, and I do know that the hookers in Romania do not sue. They don't even make you wear a condom. They underestimated.
Oh, my God. Of course. Oh, my God. You were hysterical. You were hysterical. Okay.
But then it was like, yeah, so...
Wow.
Saying that they were saying Sophie Turner drugs young women to get them and forces them to have threesomes with her and Joe Jonas. And it's like, you know what's so weird is that there are blind items that like literally almost say this exact same thing, but it's been...
Well, I was just going to say that. They were coming close to true stories, but they were twisting it against her.
Yeah, but it was like also weird because I'm like, this is so weird because in July, I had already read any and every Sophie Turner blind item that ever existed, okay? Every Game of Thrones blind item ever existed.
Gosh.
And then every Joe Jonas Sophie Turner blind item ever existed because I'm like, this little short fucker is cheating on her. This little short fuck is telling people that he's like in an open marriage. Like this little short 5'6" fuck is doing this to my Queen of the North. Anyway, sorry, I had to go. I was really angry.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so did they say anything else?
it was paragraphs, Molly. It was paragraphs over days of them. And I was
really,
and that was also the same source that told me Hailey Bieber's pregnant. And I shared that. So that's where I know that this source was not credible, because they started to drop bombs that turned out to literally be the opposite of true. So that's why I'm like, can confidently say whoever this fucking person is, it didn't work, but also your information is shit. And next time you try and trick someone, like,
okay, wait 1 second. So were they giving you items before they were priming you, in other words?
first they primed me with the Joseph, and then I wasn't biting. And they're like, what? And they kept saying, well, once you get comfortable with the information, I know it's a lot to wrap your head around. I know that you've been a big Sophie Turner fan. I know that you've watched Game of Thrones. And it was like,
it's all manipulation.
It was
trying to manipulate
so,
you.
but it was so like, what's the term? Not placating, but like that kind of thing where it's just like,
Yeah.
I'm a blunt, direct person. It's like, I don't need time. Like, information is information. The fact of the matter is this is the first time I'm hearing any of this, and the way that you are literally writing me paragraphs, like, when that's not how I get information. Like, I hate when people send me, by the way, 40-page essays when it's like, I just want the tea. I don't need your entire backstory. Just send me the tea. But that's what this.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do here now.
Yeah.
So tell me then, how do you? Okay, so you first read blind gossip that you get from other places that you source, and you say where you're reading it from. So it's like a compilation. Yeah. Like you're an aggregator. You're like a blind gossip aggregator.
Yeah, that's pretty much. But then I also probably get, at least daily, I probably get 5 to 10 emails, DMs of, that's why I'm also like, I get so exhausted and so overstimulated, because then I have over 500,000 followers on TikTok and all of these other people. And it's like, you guys don't understand like how many people I am talking to per day. I won't remember like one of my followers' name. She's like, I literally talked to you 2 weeks ago. I'm like, I have over I have 500,000 followers, but I had conversations with 86 different people by email today that all have like names that I'm supposed to know which Matthew you were or which Sarah you were.
I know. It is hard. It is hard to keep in track.
I also get contacted, and that's why like but I'll get like DMs from people, but then there's DMs that I'm like, I look for certain sources that I need DMs from because I know that they're feeding me.
Okay, so do you know then, so let's just go here then to this part. So when people are dropping things to you, can you tell when someone is a publicist or someone is just like a friend of a friend, or they heard something? Do you know by language? Are there clues there, or you get the same thing over and over?
Yeah, pretty much. When it's, well, also like I'll get, a lot of the times when it's something that I'm not going to share, it's because by the time they get to me, it's like, I already know this. Like, you know what I mean? That's where I can tell it's like not a publicist or not a PR person, because it's like, this was 3 years ago. You know what I mean? So that's
okay.
So it's a lot of that. Or also people don't understand, like, I do blind item deep dives where I'll go back and read years of blind items, but I don't deep dive people, and I don't deep dive their like media, because fuck all of TMZ. I'm not going to do a bibliography on TMZ articles. Are you serious? So people, like, I'll do a blind item deep dive, or I'll do a blind item on a celebrity, and then I'll get like 40 fucking emails from people. Well, one time I met the celebrity at the coffee shop, and they were this and that and that, and it's like, holy you know what I mean? So it's just that they don't understand too, that like I'll report on a topic, and I like to keep moving, because I have ADHD, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not a stan or a fan of anything. Yeah. Like, the only thing I think I consistently come back to is probably Taylor Swift, but that's because.
Ooh, wait, Taylor Swift. Okay, before we talk about Taylor Swift, though, I just want to finish this blind gossip stuff. So just so we can end on the blind gossip part, because I get asked about blind items all the time.
You should send them to me, and you should get a finder's fee for sending them to me.
Yeah, well, I had a good, I should.
We should send them to you. Like a little business, you know, Molly? Literally.
Yeah, I get some good ones. I get some good ones. I will say I get some good ones as well. But you can identify, like, when you get information, you can spot which is really from a publicist that's more like spin, like someone is trying to make you think something, as opposed to that's being weaponized maybe, or it's like propaganda, or it's like PR.
I would say, though, that's more, I'm a lot less surface level than that. I look at things like context clues, like grammar mechanics.
Like what? Give me an example.
Vocabulary words, context clues. Like I said, I'm a writer, so I look for how things are written. And I think that's my brand, is that it's that kind of stuff, because I can also pick up on emotion in writing. So I can tell, you know what I mean? I can tell
who it's coming from and what the intent is, if it's revenge, if it's something else.
For example, that's what I picked up on. Besides the fact that it matched all of the blind items about Joe and not Sophie. And I was like, you're literally ripping off the year's worth of blind items about Joe. But it was the vocabulary and the language, because I'm like, people who just have publicists and PR people who just have tea that they want me to spill. They spill the tea and they move the fuck on. And they said, did you? Then they check and see that I spilled it. Sometimes they'll send me an email, say thank you, because I know that there's a certain blind item creator that only reads blinds that she gets paid for. And she's also like a trust fund baby, a Nepo baby. I'm not that. I'm self-made. I've never gotten paid for a blind item ever. But that's where though is like, but that also takes the burden off me. I don't have to report everything that I get, and I don't. Because some shit too, that's the other thing is that it's interesting you brought that up. I get information that it's like, I know, like when Ariana Grande went through her whole debacle with the Ethan Slater.
Wait, which one? Okay, we're on Ethan Slater? Okay, all right. Her most recent one, you mean?
Okay, so the Ethan Slater thing. And I did a blind item deep dive on Ariana Grande, and I broke that story on TikTok, just like all of it.
Oh, yeah. I bet.
And I had been talking about, I'm like, Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez are like split up like since January. Like I'd gotten so much shit for months. But it was interesting because I'd been saying, I'm like, I think Dalton Gomez and Ariana Grande split up. This is in January.
What, now, did you know that yourself or did someone tell you that?
Well, there were blind items, but then someone reached out to me and they told me something that was like very important information for me to know going forward. That's where I do have a little bit of I know everyone went hard on Ariana Grande, but there was information that I received. I'm not going to ever say it publicly. Yeah. That I was like, okay, I'm going to critique, this situation, but I don't need to be like egregiously personally mean to Ariana Grande because there was extenuating circumstances that may have affected her behavior. You know what I mean? I held a little empathy for her, right? And it was just interesting because after I finished the deep dive, I got like all of these emails. And I actually talked about this, I think, previously, where I got an email. This A-/D- list, former tweener. And it's like, okay, right off the bat, I know that you're trying to insult by calling her. She's never been D- list.
Never,
Grande
ever.
Will never be D-. Literally. And it's like, you don't even have to like her. Anyone who's anyone knows that. So it's like right off the bat, delete. And it was like something horrible, mean about Ariana Grande. And it's like, I'm not here to talk personal shit about celebrities. I'm here to just sanitary blind items.
So Kyle, I have a list of questions and comments from people because I had asked, what do you want to ask Kyle? And I put it on Instagram stories, also put it on TikTok. And I did notice that one of the questions, I thought it was a good question. It was framed not in a nice way, but I'm going to make it nice. You have a very distinctive look. And when I did a duet with you to promote our conversation, ask questions, I put the duet on and it automatically gave me the bold filter, which I've never used. Now, I was feeling pretty crusty when I was filming anyway. I thought, why am I even doing this next to her? Like, she's so cute. But then I had the bold glamour. I went, whoa, look at me. I could only do it for a couple minutes. But the bold glamour, now I thought perhaps you used it as a disguise because I look totally different. Like I'm unrecognizable.
I use it because every other app is stealing my content. Especially Snapchat. And this way, if you see the bold glamour filter, because everyone knows me as it now on TikTok. If you do not see that there, it is a TikTok account that is stealing my content. It is Snapchat. Snapchat, literally, I turned off my downloads because my content, I get emails and DMs every day. Every single day from tons of people being like, Kyle, did you know Snapchat ripped off another thing? Did you know E!
Oh.
If you don't see the bold glamour filter on there, you know it's not my original video on
TikTok.
TikTok.
You know it's not yours. Oh, it's counterfeit.
Don't watch it. Give me the view.
Don't watch it. Okay. All right. Good. That's the PSA for your content. Right now, we're in late fall. What is the number one question you're getting right now from your comments?
Actually, Molly, I was berated by my followers to bring this up.
Berated? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they're like, this is the only thing anyone wants to hear about from both.
Okay, tell me.
Travis Kelce's publicist blocked me, but also Travis Kelce's publicist and also just the clown face thing. They need to hear our take on it. I was like, because I told my followers, I'm like, listen, I'm going to be talking to Molly McPherson. This is a Roman Empire type situation, but this was a big deal. And I'm a Swiftie, but I have a lot of Swiftie this morning. But they were like, we need to hear you talk about this with Molly McPherson. Because also, like, you're a very respected publicist, and I can't say that all of the other publicists are as respected as you are, and that some might suggest that they wish that you were Travis Kelce's publicist instead. Just saying.
Oh, some may have suggested that. It's so funny. Okay, I love this because now, just for a timestamp, I was off TikTok for like 5 days because I had to go home. My dad was sick, and then he passed away, and so I was out on this window, and when I came back into TikTok, everything was Pia. Everything was Pia.
That was
Okay. So now I haven't spoken about Pia, though I did tell people I would talk about it. Now on my Patreon Live, I did talk about Pia. So some people have heard my take on it. Now I'm going to be very interested, and I hope, because last week I spoke at PRSA in Rochester. It was a Northeast District conference. So it's all the PRs, Northeast District. And that came up in the Q&A. And I dropped my Pia theory. So I hope that I did not shame my profession and dent my credibility.
Wait, a whole team of PR professionals were talking about Pia Malihi?
Well, not in a group. I was the speaker. And then there was a Q&A and the hand up like, could you tell us about Pia? I said, I'll tell you about Pia. Now, I will be mortified if you and I do not think similarly on this, but something tells me
that's crazy.
I know I'm right.
Yeah,
and that's why when I predict something, I am predicting. Like I never look at something and then pretend like I'm predicting. But this one, I think I'm predicting it down. So God, I hope I'm right.
Okay.
So you tell me first.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to say this. I have 556,000 followers on one TikTok account. I have 85,000 followers on a TikTok account. And I have like almost 9,000 Instagram followers, right? You know what I don't have managing my social medias? As someone who literally has, that's like almost,
right?
700,000. I don't have an intern managing my social media, especially not my Instagram, especially because I get DMs from publicists and PR people who I wouldn't want an intern reading that confidential information.
You're like me. You're like me. I have to filter all my own stuff.
I don't know anyone with a net worth under $50 million and net following of under, I don't know, I think it was hers was under 5,000. Who has anyone else managing their social media, but especially when you're literally a motherfucking publicist? Did all the PR professionals be like, rule number one is we manage our own socials because we're a fucking publicist. We're supposed to be the best at this?
Okay, so I think we're going into the same place. Now, are you telling me, Kyle, am I picking up this vibe from you, that you feel, I don't know if anyone doesn't know this, but we have Taylor Swift, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's answer this. Oh, wait, before we get to Pia, you and I both know this because you and I both did the content on this. Taylor Swift, Kelsey. So let's just go with Travis Kelsey first. PR, not PR.
Aren't you the one that agreed with my sentiment that PR relationships can and sometimes do become real?
Yes.
And in PR relationships, often the two celebrities can and sometimes do fuck. I said that really bluntly, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
the studios put us together, our management teams, they put us together, and we might as well have fun with this.
Yeah, okay. So, and this is my equivalent of it too. This is how I explain it in my talk and then even in my interview yesterday. Yeah. So think about like if you're in high school and you're in college and let's say you get dumped or your best friend gets dumped, right? Mm-hmm. So what do? What is your instinct?
That's what I thought.
If it's a girl, like you're going to go out and you're going to find the hottest person,
I was going to say, I was a serial monogamist, but that's because 50% of my relationships were PR relationships just to make my...
Yes, everybody has PR relationships.
Like literally,
okay?
There were so many people that I dated and made out with and did stuff with, and it was purely because there was a friend of mine that was mean that day and called me fat. So I was like,
yes, see, exactly.
Okay. Your boyfriend and then date him. That kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. So you and I are in the same place. Everybody acts like a PR. It's like verboten, like, oh God. No, everybody's in PR relationships.
Any celebrity relationship that it's like almost like the Jada Pinkett Will Smith effect. We didn't need to know that they were split or not split up. We didn't need to hear about your relationship. Yeah. We literally, but you told us. So that is a PR relationship. The fact that you, in any relationship that is used for attention, publicity, fame, and or money, all four, just one of them, is a PR relationship. Yes,
exactly.
PR relationships can also be real, and PR relationships can be totally fake and turn real, and PR relationships can just be totally fake. But the point is that they're being used, they're being strategically planted, and they're being publicized for it basically just means a public relationship.
Well, and what did I said in my post, which is the definition of PR? It's a mutually beneficial relationship. Taylor and Trevor, they both benefit.
I feel like Taylor Swift is too big for PR, and it's like, no.
Oh, I get that all the time. Oh, I just answered that last night, as a matter of fact. That's a question I answered.
Shut this down, because I'm going to lose. I'm not a publicist or a PR person. I'm a blind random gossiper, but I swear to God, if I have to talk to another cis white man and explain to him that every fucking celebrity needs PR. That's how you stay a celebrity.
Yes, it's how you out. And well, here, this is really what it is. And this is in the TikTok I already did. There's marketing, there's advertising. So there's paid, there's marketing, which is process, promotion, all that. And then there's PR, which is perception. Taylor Swift, that's what she cares about more than anything, is perception.
But her entire song catalog is based on the public's perception of her relationship with people.
Yes, like, of course. It's so obvious.
Items, right? But it's like, I've read the blind items. Those songs are based on your public perception of her relationship.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you and I have the same nerve
we
that
do.
certain commenters just sit on and just grind us on.
That's why I can't
Same
do.
thing.
That's why I'm like, I can't fuck with Harvey Levin. Like, I'm sorry, dude, you suck.
Yes. Okay. So now you and I both are in agreement on that. So now when we get into the Pia conversation.
Yeah.
So Pia now, Travis Kelce's publicist, and there was a collage photo put together by Pia's friend for Pia's birthday. There was at the center of it a photograph of Taylor Swift. On her face, almost exactly, right, is a clown emoji. Dead center.
But what's
center.
important is underneath it was the caption that said, "Our Roman Empire." And the person was like, "You're my Roman Empire," to like Pia. So it was like also not just like putting the clown on Taylor's face. It was like the context of that in there. It was deeper than just the clown phase.
Okay, so now tell me this then. Do you think, well, we're not going to talk about Pia's intention,
Yeah.
yet, but the friend's intention of saying our Roman Empire, is it that we both die on this hill that we don't like Taylor Swift? Or this is how we use it, or we're in on it, like we know it's a big whatever?
Unpopular, actually, well, okay.
I bet you're going to say what I've said. I bet you're going to say
but
what
I
I
also
said.
have inside knowledge. Alleged inside knowledge that there was allegedly a too close interpersonal relationship between Travis Kelce and his publicist. And allegedly, there's another Kelce brother that has a huge team. And there are also a lot of other team members on Travis's team that do not respect a publicist. It's like the only one that doesn't get along with anyone else is her. And also they feel that her relationship has been inappropriate and codependent. And they have just been waiting for her to be let go.
Wait, codependent with Travis?
Yeah. And that Travis is just like, because she's, I guess, allegedly she crossed a line, crossed a boundary in there. Because he's the client, right?
Yeah.
She crossed a professional boundary, and everyone with Travis.
Allegedly, someone told you.
But that she has an inappropriate, too personal working relationship with.
Oh.
And so.
Okay.
That's one aspect, which though, as a woman who's had a crush on someone, you know what I mean? Like, so I put myself in that mental space and it's like, are you serious? And then it's also the combination of, I believe it's a PR relationship, regardless of whether or not it turned real. I think that that's irrelevant to this. I think that the point is that it began as PR. And if you have a publicist, right, that has a crush on their client, it may have crossed the line with that client previously.
Okay.
And that client gets Taylor fucking Swift. I'm sorry, it's Taylor Swift. Are you like that? You know what I mean? It's like those things. Like if I had a husband or a wife, like let's say more realistic, a wife. If my wife was like, "Listen, Kyle, Taylor Swift said she wants to fuck me," I'd be like, "I will divorce you if you do not go fuck Taylor Swift right now, and sign an NDA and make sure that you get paid for it."
Okay, wait, hold on, Kyle. Okay, now hold on. Okay, my brain has to catch up to yours right now. So you're telling me something that I wasn't thinking. I thought it was really more strategic, contrived, all planned, right? Because she's a publicist whose job is to make publicity. You know this is going to make publicity, but what you're telling me...
her reputation is that she's not the greatest publicist. So And she also, Molly, she blocked me. I didn't even follow her. She blocked me before...
When? When did Pia block you?
Before I even knew about the clown face emoji Instagram story.
Wait, so she anticipated people would talk about it, so she blocked you?
She either blocked me because of who I am and the platform I have. You know what I mean? So she either blocked me weeks before that. Again, I didn't follow the girl. She was like, you know what I mean? Where's Mariah Carey? I don't know her. But the point is that, so in the time span of when that story was posted and when anyone that's a Swiftie saw it and sent it to me, okay?
Yeah.
And it was like, by the time I went to check, I was blocked. I couldn't, and I was like,
oh.
So if it was.
So you don't know when she blocked you. You have no idea.
But either way, either I'm a Swiftie and all of like the one bias I have is I'm very pro Taylor Swift. I did my one meetup I've ever had. So she's either not a Swiftie, right? Because and like she's like sick of me talking about
Taylor Swift,
but also with the man that she is clearly with the client she's clearly in love with because it bothers her because I talk about that daily, or it's because she's like, oh, Kyle's gonna unearth the fact that this is a PR relationship. Already been there, done that. Why would she block me for that? I do that to every PR relationship. The third aspect is that was shady. She knows I'm a Swiftie. She knows I have a huge platform. She knows all of the Swifties sent it to me, and she knew that I was going to light her ass up.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. So what you are saying...
She was hoping it wouldn't go as viral as it did. I think she did it, and that she didn't think, because she didn't have that many followers, I think that she didn't think it would go, but she underestimated the power of the SBI, the Swiftie Bureau of Investigation, period.
I love that. Wait a minute. Okay. So I'm kind of close to you, but I was wrong. It was like I was right to a point. Now I'm wrong. Well, because you got the blind gossip.
Well, these are also like theories that are kind of converging because I haven't talked about this with you yet. So we're kind of like, I'm just telling you, I'm presenting.
We're uncovering it together.
Yeah.
So this is what, I don't know the blind gossip on it, but I look at human behavior.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel that anyone who is going to repost a clown emoji, the Roman Empire, Taylor Swift, and their publicist, there's a reason why they're doing it. It wasn't a mistake, in other words. You and I agree.
When her only client is literally dating Taylor Swift, Molly, can I ask you, as a publicist, if Taylor Swift was your only client and she was dating Travis Kelce, would you make sure that you were aware of everything that you posted about Travis Kelce?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's Taylor Swift's one fucking boyfriend, right? Taylor Swift is Travis Kelce's one fucking PR girlfriend. You know what I mean? It's like Pia had one job, not to put a clown emoji over Taylor Swift's fucking face. And
you had one job to do.
One job. Literally, don't piss off the entire Swiftie fan base. Like, that's the thing, though, is don't activate. But also, here's the other thing that, this is why I love TikTok and I love our followers. I know that we share a lot of crossover. Our followers are so fucking smart. Here's the other thing.
They are. I say that all the time, every interview.
So they brought up this.
So smart.
Given the fact that there is allegedly, potentially inside information that she did have an inappropriately close relationship, do you think that that was then intentional to bomb the PR relationship because she knows it's a PR relationship?
Well, see.
Or sow seeds of discord in it.
Okay, so now you're in my wheelhouse. We're right here. So I'm going to go someplace, but I need your brain to come back to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember when it was two women? This was right when I was starting to go into my hole and I was getting out. But remember, it was two women, and one I thought was friends with Travis Kelce's publicist. She was on a director's chair and they were talking, and it was inside scoop about how it is a PR relationship. Do you remember that? You did a post on that.
Yeah, so it was a girl.
Yes,
okay,
you
so
did.
It's a Twitch streamer. I'm not on Twitch or anything like that. It was a Twitch streamer who was doing a Q&A at an Emporium, you know what I mean? Something like that. And she said, oh my, and apparently a lot, she's well known. So she went.
So she was a streamer. You're saying she was a Twitch streamer.
She's a well-known streamer. And she said, oh my God, you guys, my makeup artist is best friends with Travis Kelce's publicist, and said it's a PR relationship. After she got a lot of backlash for it, 2 days later, she was like, I totally made that up for views. But the only reason, but honestly though, is why would that get you views? Because I got that clip off YouTube. I still don't know what thing that was. Why would that get her views? Because I didn't even cite what the fuck that was. The only clip that mattered was her saying that, and that clip was already everywhere on the internet. What was getting her views? That was getting me views. That was getting literally everyone. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay. So Kyle.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. So when I saw that, so there are two patterns that I see, because like you, I look for patterns, but I don't have your brilliant brain where I can spot it, in the future and everything. But when I see patterns, so when I see something drop like that, I'm looking for the next shoe to drop.
That's actually
and I noticed that these two shoes dropped very close together.
Oh my God. See, this is why. Oh my God. Sorry. I just had a brain-gasm, a PR-gasm talking about this.
A PR-gasm. Love it.
That is but that's what I mean. That goes to my point of where the theory of, is she in love with her client, and is she trying to tank this PR relationship faster?
Is she okay?
Because that's what it sounds like. That's what you got. You got the leak, and I actually did a TikTok about this, about the leaks, and this was because of our fucking amazing followers, and also the Swifties.
Yes. Yeah.
But the thing about the Swifties is that they followed the PR of every guy Taylor Swift.
Yes.
I've never done that. That's where I do blind items. I also love certain fan groups I love, and that's where they have followed the PRs of every PR relationship, every significant other Taylor Swift, and they're like, Kyle, this smells of bullshit. And so it was the makeup artist leak, right? But it was so poorly timed because that leak dropped, and I got the clip and I posted it on my TikTok, but my TikTok was banned. That was the time. My TikTok was banned. So Pia, because the same day my TikTok got unbanned was the day that I broke the clown face story, was the day that, and so I don't know if Pia realized, oh my God, this girl's back on TikTok, I'm going to block her because now it's going to go viral. But so the makeup artist thing went viral on my clone account. That was on my main account because my main account was banned. And then I get my main account back, and then the clown face emoji thing drops, and I'm like, the piece that's missing is on my clone account. So, but I have Swifties that follow me on, I have 85,000 people that follow me on both. And those are the people that were like, Kyle, That was the first drop. This is the second drop. They're like, are they
okay.
Are they sowing seeds of discord? And then that's where I got third-party information about a potential inappropriate boundary crossing.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a one-sided, maybe it's mutual, but I just heard about the one side. Yeah, because that's the
all right. So
that's the
Kyle,
professional. Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna bring your brilliant brain back here. And so when I'm looking for what's up, and when I'm looking at these moves, like PR moves, like we'll call them, I'm always looking for intent. I'm always looking for a victim. I'm always looking for a cause, like why they're doing this. So in my mind, I felt this whole thing was manufactured. I didn't know the inside scoop, like what you're talking about, because I look for manufactured things, but also I always look for revenge. So I did not think there was any revenge or any type of destruction that's happening here, because you have the blind gossip. Now you're telling me that blind item. Now I look at the Pia clown, the relationship thing, the makeup artist, pulling it down. Now I think your blind item rings true. I mean, I got it wrong. And here I did it in an interview yesterday. I was telling the reporter, we were going back and forth. So I was close.
We're all about evolving, because I mean, that's both of our jobs, is like, as new information becomes available or comes to light, we have to adapt to, like, you know, either incorporate that information or dispel it. You know what I mean? So the blowback I get, it's weird. It's like, but you changed your opinion on this. I'm like, I feel like that's what all smart people do. As more information, as new information and more information comes, it's just like, thank you.
Okay, so let's say that you and I are now coming up with the official, non-official Pia theory. Okay.
The official alleged theory.
Oh, the official alleged.
theory.
Yeah, I say official, non-official, but we will say for legal purposes, the alleged theory is that so now what we're saying is we believe that Pia is definitely behind creating conversation and dialogue and setting a perception to make something happen, because she was allegedly either in a relationship or some significant pining. Let's hear it. Let's get the final word on what do we think. Let's future cast here. What do we think's going to happen? It will come to an end.
March,
right?
The Super Bowl.
See, you're like, can I give you a theory? Can I give you one more theory?
They filmed the Super Bowl commercial together. They have to go through the Super Bowl, or else that commercial.
They have to go through Super Bowl. Okay. So here's my theory, and I'm not a deep Swiftie level like you. I mean, I like her. I like Taylor. You know, my kids liked her. I've been to her concerts, but I feel like she's on the Eras tour, right?
Yeah, for like 2 more years. There.
Yeah, but it's like, I'm talking like late, like in the spring, whatever, you know, summer. So now they're future casting here themselves. Like, okay, so now we have the tour, and then we have the space, and then we have the movie. Yeah. And then we have space, and then we have the tour, like Argentina. Like she flies on there. Yeah. So now whenever there's a block.
But did you notice the timing on the block? Like, it was a perfectly teed up PR relationship.
Hold on. You're gonna head. So I'm looking at blocks now. I don't follow. I'm casual. Like, I work full time. Like, I can't follow all this stuff. But even I'm looking like these blocks of times that I can picture them saying, okay, it's late summer or fall, all the way got to December, and then we go to art. Okay, what can we have Taylor to? Okay, she can't go to musician because she's just coming out of air tour. We can't go to a movie because we had the writer's strike and we had this. There are no movies. What can we do? Like, the NFL. And then goes through all the thing. Like, I think it is that planned. Am I crazy?
No, you're not. Obviously, like, it was so, and the whole friendship bracelet thing, hello. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was all manufactured, right?
Like,
all
and the time, they set this up last year. But the other.
Yes, okay.
But the other thing is, Molly, I read a blind item, and it was from, when she released 1989 originally, like 2014, 2015, right? Yeah. And it said how Taylor Swift wanted to do the Super Bowl that year. And the NFL said, no. You need to have party songs that not just your fan base love, that get all of the men up dancing. We need more, like Rihanna has, these songs that people get. Yeah. And so we got Shake It Off. We got some other stuff, but but they were like, they turned down Taylor Swift because they said, you need to translate to our male audience.
So she needed to come up with kind of anthem rock. And now you have Shake It Off, and you go to, oh my gosh. So you go to a stadium.
You have her dating Travis Kelce. All the NFL guys love Taylor Swift. They're like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Look at her at all the games. Yeah.
Okay, then tell me about blind gossip then in terms of the NFL, because I get asked that all the time. Tell me though, are you getting blinds about the NFL? Or at least, back when it was open. Yeah, so what's the NFL angle? Tell me about NFL with Taylor.
It is so annoying because we have lived in this lovely community of gossip, and I've been doing pro athlete gossip, and all of a sudden I get these fucking Barstool guys that are like, fuck you, you're a woman. And it's like...
So Kyle, now tell me about the NFL blind gossip, the blind items, specifically around when the start of the season and the Chiefs game and Taylor shows up in the private booth and then in the Jets. What are you getting in terms of blind items or people dropping things with you?
I don't think I can share any of it without like activating the entire NFL fan base.
Okay.
It's been PR from the start. I mean, all of the blind items I've been getting are about... Listen, I'm sorry, Molly, but there's never been a celebrity relationship where I've known ahead of time what and where and what was going to be.
And what was going to be happening.
Actually, no, I haven't gone through this since Taylor Swift's last PR relationship.
Okay, all right. Okay, understood. Now let me ask you this then. Now that you have all the back end, front end, and all of it, we know that the NFL gets ratings. We know that. We know television ratings. We know all of that. But what do they want to tap into the demographic for the sports or just for the culture of it? Like,
no,
are Swifties going to watch?
Yeah, no, the NFL, I've been watching the NFL like since I was little. That's the one thing I watched with my dad and I like in college.
Me too.
The NFL, yeah. So as a former Division I athlete, that like I was part of the lawsuit against the NCAA for brain injuries. There's been a lot of movement, a big movement going on about brain injuries in sports, concussions in sports. So which
is the big PR problem with the NFL.
It's true. And I'm a big proponent of like anti-brain injuries as someone who had one from sports concussions, you know? So there's been a slow burn in popularity where people are actually saying, no, I have an ethical issue with watching this. And they're turning off.
Oh yeah. And kids aren't playing football anymore and all that.
Okay. So that's the slow burn. That's been years coming. The next one is that women are the majority in America now, by the way. Yeah. And women aged, I think it's 24 to 49. Okay. Hold all of the purchasing power. Like we are.
Yes. Okay.
And you know what we do is not watch the NFL, but you know what we did? Spend billions of dollars on Taylor Swift merch, tickets, the Eras Tour albums.
Yes. Okay? Yes. But how are you going to are you going to do it though? Are we going to see a bunch of manufactured relationships now with NFL players and singers and celebrities?
I think this will start a trend, but why do you think they put Taylor Swift it was just so obvious. They put Taylor Swift in the box and every single network was watching Taylor Swift instead of the game. It was like clearly.
Oh, yeah. No, so I get the short-term gain of it, but what's the long-term gain?
But the NFL is trying to gain international viewership. That's their biggest thing because that's kind of the only way to save it in a broadcasting sense is to tap into an international market. I watch European football. I watch European football more than I watch American football. And so they're trying to do the inverse. Like they just did the game in Germany. Hello. They just did the Chiefs game in Germany. Okay.
I know. Yes. And I got so many calls from reporters in Germany.
There's no American known all over the world more than Taylor Swift and Joe Biden. Period.
Yes. Okay. So Kyle, the short term all makes sense. Yeah. I mean, obviously. Yeah. I mean, the short-term gain, but is it what they're trying to do is like truly, they're just trying to make it more culturally acceptable. Like you bring women in and just in the hopes that some of them stay.
Also trying to get more exposure to NFL games because they think men in other countries will be like, oh, this is
we'll
so
start
cool.
watching it.
They're hitting your heads against each other. This is probably why Americans are so fucking dumb. You know what I mean? Like they're just saying,
Okay. All right. Oh, that's interesting.
I think that the NFL, I think that like it's just the common theme we've seen like across all of these industries. These men are overestimating. They're underestimating us as women.
And our tastes and our likes, even though I like football.
Yeah, but what drives our pack mentality too when it comes to like purchasing stuff and becoming fan bases and stuff like that, they need to hire Swifties. If the NFL wanted to, they would hire Swifties. Like that's what I mean, the SBI, Swiftie Bureau of Investigation. Going forward, if any company wants to not go bankrupt, they need to have their own SBI.
Yeah.
Swifties,
okay.
Swifties tell me things about me that I didn't even know. I'm like, holy shit. How did you know that about me? Like my doctor didn't even know that, you know? It's crazy.
Oh my gosh, Kyle. Oh my gosh. This was a trip. I don't even know how to end it. Like we had all these questions and I got to some of them.
Yeah,
let me just do one because we have to, because now I got to edit this.
Yeah.
Now I know where the juice is in this podcast.
Yeah,
okay?
Once you get me talking, right. Shut up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so now we did talk about, so at Melissa said, I'd like to know how and why PR teams choose to drop blind items. So we touched on that.
Yeah.
We also talked about where you get your blind items and how you source them. And then someone else said, I love her and talked about other creators. We also talked about kind of the metric for judging how realistic, true, trustworthy. Oh gosh, we actually organically got through a lot of these.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, yes, how often is a blind item put out to distract from maybe another rumor to help spin PR? All the time, right? Like that's right.
That's changed recently. I think, not to toot my own horn, but I've kind of made blind items more mainstream in the last year.
Yeah, you have.
And so it hasn't been until recently that I've just seen like a shift where instead of going to TMZ, they're going to blind items.
I agree with you 100%. That's why I agree with this.
That's on mainstream media fucking sucking, TMZ Page 6 sucking, and us being better at it, period. Hire us instead. It's like what you get for having male-dominated industries that do gossip. Hello, that is a woman's sport. That is a woman's sport.
So Kyle, here is the last question that I put in here. And even though I think that we've touched on it for the entire podcast, we can wrap everything up in one big bow with this. So at Melissa asked, I'd like to know how and why PR teams choose to drop blind items. So I think it's fair to say that you and I both agree that blind items are now like a mainstream strategic public relations tactic. Agree?
I think that PR teams have seen the power of virality with blind items. Like, especially with my account, we saw Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas's divorce start in my DMs in July being a PR war on Sophie Turner, to me flipping that and saying, baby, I'm going to battle for the Queen of the North. And I shared all of Joe Jonas's blind items. So I think the power of blind items has been proven, and the lack of virality of TMZ headlines and Page 6. No one respects those mainstream media articles anymore, or those journalists anymore. They don't print news. So they come to the blind items because you and I do it better than TMZ does.
Okay. So I'm now making the timeline, the public relations publicity timeline. Here we go. So, and we'll use Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner. Okay. So now you are getting not just dropped. It's like a boulder on your head. Like they are blowing you up, you know, with all of the blind items.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get all this behind the scenes peer pressure over the summer. I jump in Labor Day weekend. And again, like my followers are noticing, and one of the things that I always talk about is the Friday news dump, which I didn't create. I just talk about it because, I mean, I worked in Washington, D.C. when we used it.
Because of you.
Yes, right? So, but I didn't originate it. But just like you with blind gossip, you can spot it a mile away, okay? It's a move. It's a PR move. So now I'm tracking Joe Jonas. I'm tracking what's dropping in TMZ and People, the timing. It's Labor Day weekend. And I know all weekend now, we're going to start to see these little micro PR moves that are going to be leaks, photographs, social media, and then other blind, perhaps gossip creators, whatever it is, like dropping it with other people, maybe take the bait. And then on Sunday, we get the crap about the Ring camera. Now we get the true trashing and trouncing of Sophia.
Didn't they split on August 15th? Or did we, because
well, I'm talking about the campaign. I'm not talking about truth.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, because like, I'm like a little blacked out on July and August and September, because I know he filed for divorce on September 5th. And I told my followers they were splitting before it was in the press. So that's where I don't know when the mainstream media told everyone.
Yes, because TMZ had information on there. So I think what happened is, when this is what I've said, is they were trying to manipulate this entire divorce using an old playbook, an antiquated playbook, okay?
Hating
that people
women.
could see through.
Hating women.
Yes, exactly. There is that.
Yeah.
But then it's women like us, like I'm a seasoned person who sees it. You're the new next gen of it, of the blind. You and I together, and I think even independently, I don't think we were even duetting or anything. We were talking about the same thing, but kind of like at different plays. But then I noticed in the whole perception rhythm, and when people start to come after people, that retaliation, I felt like Sunday was the day of, the day we are going to officially trounce and bury Sophie Turner, because the next day is Labor Day. And then reporters are not working the entire weekend, right?
So they thought my blind item deep dive on Joe Jonas on that Sunday. And do you see how effective it was?
Yeah. Boom. So they're not working, right? So they want all this stuff to happen on social media, but they started to lose it because people like you, people like me, other people, you and I will both take credit for this, because you and I both blew up that weekend.
No, because my followers were saying, Molly, can you confirm what Neil said? And then
and then they go to me and say the same thing.
He said this is true. Keep going.
I know. So we're both looking at it from different lenses, right?
Yeah.
So then, because I know how the press works and reporters.
Yeah.
So no one's covering it over the weekend because they wanted to manipulate social media in their favor. It didn't work.
And
so now they
I'm
said,
shutting this the fuck down. I'm shutting this
yes,
the fuck
we're
down.
going this to the next level.
But
Sophie
it
Turner's.
was after he filed for divorce when I also said, this is so weird. And that's when I came out with the story of, they had someone come to me back in July, priming me, prepping me, starting with this back in July. And that's where I think not to give myself too much credit, but social media turned instantly because I'm like, you guys, no, listen, 2 months ago, someone reached out to me to try and make this a thing.
Okay. So now, hold on. So now we're starting to then you come in with the receipts, if you will. Okay. Everything is falling apart. Now we have Labor Day was the day that they marked it as the day where they were going to get through it. Then we have the divorce announcement come out on Tuesday. Okay, now on Monday, I happened to be working with a client and I had to write a separation agreement. So it was literally in my brain, okay? So when I saw this, and that's why I looked at it, I was like, we're going to, I just came on, I was in my kitchen and I looked at it and in a second, just like you, like looking and seeing the numbers, I do that with words and statements. Yes. Like I go boom, 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 red line, red line, red line. Like I know this is what's happening. So then I did that post and I talked about Sophie Turner. So I blew up the language and Sophie Turner being silent, how she sat.
Yes.
And the truth, because
I
we knew.
But that's where, Molly, this is where I do give you credit because I think that together we worked really well because you also, you nibbed the PR spin in the butt where you were like, this is the playbook. Also, public divorces, PR for divorces.
Yes.
And that's where you said the side that's silent is because they have nothing to hide. They have nothing.
Yes,
they have nothing, they're not compensating. They don't have to create the narrative because the narrative already exists for them.
And they know it will reveal itself in time because if you did it wrong, it's going to reveal itself. So now here's the continuum or the timeline. You're in July. We come all the way out. Now I'm Tuesday. Okay. I'm not you. I'm not blind items. I'm just using
your
typical
front end.
strategy.
Yeah.
Front end, right? Then who calls me? New York Times, NBC. Now I'm getting legacy. So I'm getting 1 million digital internet culture reporters.
And they're like, what happened?
But now when the New York
PR campaign fail.
Right. And now it's like the New York Times, like, whoa. So that shows between the two of us. I actually use that as a case study.
Yeah.
For whenever I talk about, even when I did this interview in the Boston Globe, I'm like, okay, let me start this.
That's why I said,
like you were in it.
And publicists need to consult with me because it's just
it doesn't work anymore.
And that's where it's like, I see it from the front end, like the tired writing, the tired terms where it's like, you need to hire better writers if you're going to spin a PR narrative. It's also the same. You can't do the same PR spin that worked in 2005. It's not going to work in it's 2023. And it's also not good. People need to realize that this is an ever evolving, ever changing territory now. Okay. With AI coming in. Okay. Dude, AI, like I hope publicists are prepared for the headache that AI is going to fucking deliver them because Hollywood's scared. No, publicists should be more scared right now. The PR spin is going to change 3 years from now. It also, I think it's heavily dependent on where the influence is coming from on social media for that particular second. So like if you're looking for white supremacy influence, go to X. If you want to be radicalized or join up like that, but it's like if you want to be a Swiftie and like also learn about Sophie Turner, you go to TikTok, right? Because I feel like we've created, like there are a lot of more pro-women communities. Like if you want to just be misogynist and like draw dicks on Britney Spears' face, listen to the Press Hilton podcast, But if you want to actually have like discussions and educate, then you go to TikTok. So it's just, but that's now too. That could change 3 years from now. It used to be YouTube,
it could. Yes, it could. And Twitter was the Me Too movement.
Yep.
And TikTok is...
Shout out to Elon Musk for making TikTok the most important app,
Yes, I know. Exactly. But publicists and teams are trying to corral public perception. They can't do it anymore.
No.
They cannot do it.
What they're gravely miscalculating is that there is no trust for them. Like people do not trust people. No one, like they trust a celebrity more than they trust their publicist. You know what I mean? But people don't trust celebrities in general. I don't even want to I don't want to even say all my ideas because they're so valuable. And I want to watch all the publicists who don't consult with me suffer and burn and crash like so quickly.
But wait a minute, Kyle, we can't do it yet because I'm putting it in the book.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm signing my book proposal.
Yeah.
I'm going to interview you for the book.
Yeah.
And then we are going to reveal.
Yeah. A narrative.
The playbook. Okay.
Yeah. Literally it'll be like the $1 billion PR playbook. I'm not even kidding, Molly. Like the shit.
I know.
You do bring credibility to me because people are like, oh, and you have that. Everyone thinks that we're on the same team together. Like we work on a team together. I'm like, okay, yeah.
No, we just think alike.
I know, but
you and I think alike.
You're my publicist. Like it's kind of funny. I just go with it. I'm like, yeah, Molly, yeah. Or they think that we work for the same agency. It's very bizarre. But like that's how little people know.
They think we're players. Like that we're the movies and the shakers.
Yes.
I feel so honored.
Don't you? That I'm like, you think I'm
so
a plant? You think I'm an industry plant? I'm that good.
Oh God, we are not plants. Oh my gosh. Oh
it was,
no.
But it was honestly like I can see the shift and also everyone all of a sudden cares about Blind Item because Joe Jonas's PR, is it known around the PR industry that his campaign failed so miserably? And that was the first time where a man had tried that massage. I've never seen something fail so fucking miserably.
Well, it's not the first time. That's been going on for decades, but it's the first time they really tried to corral it how they did in the TikTok age. In the TikTok age.
And it was just
my quote, this was always my quote, and I don't know how many publications, it was a spectacular failure.
It was a spectacular.
Because it really was. It really was.
The fact that they also, like, it was at a certain point, I guess, they thought that they're like, and so they kept saying, whenever you're comfortable to report on it, take your time, report on it. The point is, I never got comfortable. And they trusted that I would just report on it. Like, it's like, no, that's the other thing is that they miscalculated how many other things I have to, to report on.
Yes.
And this is what I talked about on another interview, that I'm not a star fucker. I'm not a fan or stan of celebrities because like I feel I get so many DMs from like influencers and other people that wanted to get followers so they could go to the same watering hole as a celebrity and fuck one of them. And then they come running to me afterwards, Kyle, I fucked a celebrity and he's married and and I'm like, okay. Like, you're not a celebrity. Why would I report on you getting fucked, like you being dumb? Like It's like, and also like, do you know how many blind items I've read about this one celebrity having one night stands while married? Like you are literally the 6,486th girl, okay? People want to get in with celebrities to get in with celebrities. I want nothing to do with them. I just want to know all their business and tell everyone about it. I don't want to, you know what I mean?
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
I'm so dangerous. People think I'm so dangerous because like I can be bought. Kim Kardashian literally sent me $5 million and I will never say anything bad about your family ever again, period. I can be bought. But the thing is I don't want to be in with celebrities. I don't want to be a celebrity. I just want to talk shit. And tell the truth.
And this is where, I have to say though too, I always have to correct the record, and I didn't jump in and say to you, technically, I'm not a publicist. I'm the opposite of a publicist. Like, I used to be.
Academic.
No. I mean, I'm just an adjunct, but I mean, I do reactive PR. There's proactive publicity. I do reactive, looking at proactive, saying, yeah, that's not working.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like,
that's not
you're more academic about it, is what I'm saying. Like, you're not.
Well, I'm a practitioner. I'm a practitioner. I do it for a living.
Your job isn't to manipulate the masses. Your job is to. Is to clean up, is to say that manipulation sucked.
Or people hire me to manipulate. I'm like, we don't have to manipulate because I can do it in a much smarter way that involves the truth.
Yes.
And then no one's going to come back on you. Kyle, you are a treat. Now, I will admit, I'm exhausted and I do think my brain actually hurts, but the amount of information that you and I have covered in this entire conversation is, we could create a new TikTok account just from what we just talked about right now, and it would blow up overnight.
Well, Molly, I got one question for you. You want more? I'll give you more.
Oh my God, and you gave us more. Kyle, Marisa, Roth, I love you. If you want more information on Kyle, you have got to go to her account, but I'm going to put everything in the show notes. You all know where she is anyway. But Kyle, where do you want to drive people the most? Your number one place?
My TikTok at the Kyle Marisa and my Instagram at the Kyle Marisa _. You wanted more, I gave you more, both.
Fantastic. Okay, now I'm going to hit stop.
Okay.
My thanks to Kyle Marisa Roth. If you want more, she'll give you more. You can follow her primarily on TikTok at the Kyle Marisa, but you can find her on other apps as well, like Instagram. Did I tell you? Did I tell you? Now, in every episode, I include one indestructible PR tip. It's a practical takeaway to help you build an indestructible reputation, but I'm also adding now, it helps you understand the PR machinations, the strings holding the puppets up, what's behind the puppet show. And if you work in this industry, even if you don't work in comms or public relations, you run a business, it's important to understand how this works. So here is the tip. Do not dismiss gossip. And I'm talking about online gossip, people sniffing around, but also in real life too. Always seems like it falls into the truth category, doesn't it? But one of the most interesting parts of the conversation that Kyle and I had was really about the truth factor in blind items. So, listening to her, she's just spitballing it, but to say like 60 to 80% of these items are often proven true over time. So as we discussed unverified items, and I know a lot of people, and sometimes people in the comments too, will comment and say, these are people that are just bringing people down. And what is the point of this? It's fascinating because publicists use it, lawyers use it, fixers use blind gossip, and they use it for a reason. And how fascinating is it to not just take it whole cloth, never take blind gossip whole cloth, listen to it and look for the intent behind it. Who's the victim and what is the hurt? Why is something being exposed? That's when you get into the fascination of it. And when you learn how it works in the celebrity world, I got to tell you, it's no different in the regular world. It's the same thing. And I'm telling you this on authority, firsthand. Everything that I see play out in blind gossip plays out in just regular sectors as well. I promise you. I promise you. And that's why I follow it. That's all for this week on the podcast. Be sure to chime in with your takes on this episode on my social media channels. Also, my Patreon, PR Confidential. You'll see my name and my photo. There you will find access to my lives that I have twice a month. I also have a separate one for PR professionals. I have resources for PR professionals up there. You get access to me, but also you get access to the unedited, uncut video of this conversation between PR, TikTok's PR lady, and the blind gossip queen, Kyle, Marisa, Roth. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.